Let's do something new on 58 Keys. Let's do something that's not about writing tools, about writing service, but instead, let's be writers and examine a technology controversy that I think fantastically illustrates how you and we don't deal with faceless technology corporations. We have to live with the choices of people, of characters in those corporations. Hello, I'm William Gallagher and this is 58 Keys, which as always, is for writers like you and me who use Macs and iPhones and iPads. Do subscribe, by the way, it helps me hugely. And for once though, I want us to talk about all of this. I mean, yes, Macs and iPhones and iPads, but also the writer part. What's happened is Apple has introduced a new privacy feature in iPhones. That's one enormous corporation adding one feature and unquestionably hoping to sell a few more phones because of it. But I think it turns out to also be a vivid demonstration of how, no matter how big some company is, it has a personality, it has characters, it has people. And I don't just mean Apple. This time, I think the very same thing, the same controversy, is a demonstration of what Facebook would be like if you met it for a drink. Apple would want a cappuccino. I think Facebook, I think I might actually leave Facebook at the bar while I run away. Here's what's been introduced. Let me tell you this, partly because you may not have been following this, as it's kind of built up over the last few months and come to a head now, and partly so that we're on the same page with the details I want to discuss, but also so that I can actually pretend I told you something useful instead of how, we're just going to get to natter about it all as writers. This new privacy feature is called App Tracking Transparency. There you go. Explains itself, doesn't it? This has happened to you. You Googled shoes or something, and the next day and for the next month, every website you glanced at has an ad for the shoes you looked at, or some related accessories, some matching frock, I don't know. Something more insidious. You've heard of this happening a few times. A woman might Google information about something subtle, a particular ache, a certain elevated temperature, and advertisers work out before she knows that she's pregnant. Or, less invasive-ish, you're bored at work, you read a travel article about weekend city breaks in France, and you know what happens next. You get those ads for city breaks in Paris. You might, for instance, get an ad that gives you a discount that you wouldn't get somewhere else. This tracking, it goes on through web browsers and what we see, it goes on through apps that you use. And it is done in different ways. Apple has actually long been pretty good about limiting this kind of thing. Advertisers never get your name or something, they don't get your height, but they have been allowed to note that someone using this particular iPhone always opens the TripAdvisor app at 3 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. I don't know specifically about TripAdvisor, but that kind of thing. These companies can note that and they can sell that information. This is not about ads being good or bad. It's about how you track them, how they track you like this. And very specifically, it's about how it should be your choice whether they can track you or not. And now it is. As of iOS 14.5, the first time you open any app that does this deal with advertisers, you're going to be asked if you want to allow them to do this tracking. Every app. This isn't a once and done setting. It's the first time you open each app that does this thing. You have to explicitly allow or not allow that app to do this tracking. And it's completely up to you. And so it should be. You get why advertisers are unhappy, of course, and it is advertising that gets us a lot of services and apps and websites that we rely on. I'm not in any way saying advertising is naturally bad. As Apple removes the old way of tracking you instantly, it has actually introduced new ones. They're more private, they're more secure, they're a bit more limited, but it's not like advertising is dead. So there's Apple, adding a major privacy feature and, as they say, expecting that all technology firms will ultimately do the same thing, naming no names, Android, Google. And there's Apple saying users must come first. Privacy is a human right, or saying all these important things, noble things even. And you can well argue that there's Apple being a bit prim, being the one to introduce this feature because it does not make its money from advertising. Apple makes it from selling you the very expensive iPhones. I actually do think they're doing it for the right reasons. I am persuaded, but I do also get that this is going to sell some iPhones and it's not going to hurt Apple. I think you and I could look at how Apple is presenting this new feature. For months now, it's been quite steadily, confidently, consistently spelling it out, detailing the facts, and just occasionally banging the drum about privacy. But I know we can look at Facebook and see something much more dramatic about this. Facebook believed that Apple's new privacy feature would severely hurt its advertising revenue. Okay, your heart doesn't bleed for Facebook earning a little less money, and actually if it does, let me tell you, I am certain, I'm convinced that Facebook headquarters has a sign somewhere, one of those saying, days since we last sold all your data and didn't get caught. And there'll be a quite small number next to it. If you were Facebook, if you as a person, as an individual, were Facebook, well, you'd be worried about your mortgage and you would resent Apple taking away some of your income. Of course you would. I suggest that what you would do about it, though, is, well, you'd talk to Apple, and faced with an immovable object, you'd maybe look for a second job if it were really going to be that bad, and you'd at least talk to your users, tell them what was coming up, and asking them to allow this tracking, which you, as you explained to them, is how you get to provide this great service that you do. What Facebook actually did instead, though, was scream. It looked for ways to take Apple to court. Seriously, it actually did this. And I have no idea if there's even a possible legal route. I don't actually care. It's not one corporation in a contractual dispute with another corporation. It is a baby smashing its cot. This is what fascinates me about all of this story, that the vivid demonstration of the individual and its pettiness. Sue them all, sue them now, sue them twice. But then there's just a really interesting glimmer of self-awareness with Facebook. You know, when you're writing a hero, it gets pretty boring pretty quickly if they're the perfect, if they're network TV purity. And equally, you know, if you're writing a villain, well, nobody thinks they are the baddie. They think they're right. This is all one of the reasons that characters are just so absorbing to write. Everyone believes they are the hero of their own story. Facebook is used by 1 billion people, and I think it's said now that Apple has 1 billion active users today. But Apple users tend to like Apple, and Facebook users tend to not like Facebook. So Apple could do one of its flashy ad campaigns and be with a shot at convincing enough people of whatever it was it wanted them to think about, to be on its side for. Facebook knows it can't. Facebook knows that if it presents its case to us, I'm going to lose my would shrug. So instead, Facebook has positioned itself as the champion of small businesses. Not one huge one like itself, but tiny ones, like me. I'm a self-employed writer. I'm a very small business owner, and Facebook is my hero, standing up against horrible Apple on my behalf, not theirs, on mine. Yeah, Facebook, this selfless champion of what's right, is it bollocks. I've been watching this positioning, these moves over several months. I've been agog watching to see just how far down this line Facebook was going to try going, and it went pretty far. I know I'm obviously an Apple user, 58 gigs about Apple gear. I do also use Facebook. Maybe Apple got to me first. Maybe Apple persuaded me of their point of view about privacy. But Facebook has the reach, has the money, has the power to at least, make me try to reconsider. And instead, Facebook chose to tell some pork pies. I'm not saying Facebook, I'm not just saying it. There's actually been an academic study of some of Facebook's claims, and the study says that Facebook cherry-picked some statistics to make its case, not uncommon. But then it just changed those statistics anyway. I am lost to Facebook's argument forever, instantly, because of that. But the writer in me does also see that Facebook knows I'm lost. I'm a user who follows technology news. It knows I know enough and I care enough to at least argue, probably to disagree with them entirely about privacy. So, forget me. It's like, imagine a son or daughter has done something bad, so bad, that one of their parents has written them off. I mean, really dramatic stuff. You know that child is going to concentrate on the other parent, that they will focus on them, focusing on getting that parent to take their side. Facebook did that too. Facebook took out newspaper ads to make its case about being this champion of the underdogs, and it took out those ads in the newspapers that pretty much only American regulators read. Facebook was ridiculed for those ads by the technology press, by privacy organizations who mocked it, by everybody except the regulators that it was aiming at. Apple says that all of this business with the advertising industry is going to settle down, by the way, that yeah, there's going to be a bump for them now, but that we've been here before with other privacy moves. It's going to be fine. I have no idea whether they're right. I mean, actually, if they are, it's a pretty dull end to the story, isn't it? I'd be okay with a dull ending in that case. But as to this business of us being writers, examining drama and people behind technology headlines, examining character behind corporate doors, there has been an ending. After months of screaming, Facebook recently stopped. It did an about face, said, yeah, this is good actually. Yeah, we're fine. It's great, good. See if we care. Be better for us anyway. What I imagine actually happened is that someone deep in Facebook's financial department said, if you keep telling people we're going to lose incredible amounts of money, shareholders are going to hear you. But come on, the sheer volume of petulance suddenly switched off. Tell me that doesn't sound to you like Facebook's mother had a word. That was a weird one, wasn't it? That wasn't like a normal 58 keys at all. You know, normally 58 keys is try this feature in Pages, is the new final draft update worth buying? This is more like an op-ed, wasn't it? But listen, for all that I like how we usually talk about writing tools and getting things written, I like more that you and I are writers. Thank you for talking to me about characters and drama and writing instead of just technology. And thanks for watching. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.